Namaste, beautiful goddesses. Welcome back to my podcast, Teach, Travel, Talk. I'm Marvelous Megan, and I'm here to empower and guide you beautiful queens to have a happy, healthy, successful life that you all deserve. I want you to become the powerful unicorn, goddesses, and queens you are always meant to be, that we all are meant to be. I am so happy and excited to share an unedited session between my friend Yana, who has her own coaching business called Empath Unicorn Academy. I will link all her details below in the show notes. I met this lovely lady almost a month ago, and I'm blessed she appeared in my life. We've had some amazing chats. We do try to have a weekly chat with each other, and I wanted to share what we talk about with you because I do believe that you might get a little inspired and have some teachable moments in there. For this show, I didn't want to edit anything. I wanted you to see a raw, unedited version, and I hope you enjoy and take away these teachable moments. Super good about doing that, like working out in the morning time, but oh my god, like I just can't. I try. I set my alarm for like 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and then I wake up at 8, and I'm like, well, I guess this is what time my body wants to wake up. Ain't gonna deny it.
That's the thing, like, I'm just trying to get this charger, my headphones are attaching. The best thing to do is to actually listen to your body of what it's telling you when it comes to how much you need to sleep, your wake up times. There's even like sleep tests you can do online. I took a sleep course and I learned that basically like there's different, I guess, names for who you are as a sleep person. There's like a night owl, which we know, and then there's also a bear. This is more like where you are.
I've always said, I'm a bear. I can hibernate, man.
Same way, but you know what? I have also learned that if the reason is strong enough to wake up in the morning, you will wake up.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And it will become a habit. I wake up at 5:29 Monday to Friday.
Oh my god. What time do you go to bed usually?
Usually around like, I think the earliest is 9:30, but typically I go around 10, 10:30, sometimes 11.
Okay.
Because at the same time I'm also a night owl.
I feel you on that one. I feel you. It's weird because I go through phases. Like some days, like I feel like for years I'll be like a morning person, and then sometimes it'll just change to nighttime, and I'm like, can you just pick one? Can you be a morning person or a night owl? I don't care. But I can't stay awake past midnight or I get physically ill. Like I start dry heaving. Like my body is like, go to bed now because you cannot stay awake. Yeah, it's crazy because I was like doing night audit for a while, and yeah, after a while I was like, I can't do this. Like I was just helping out, but I was like, you guys really need to find someone because I cannot keep staying awake all night long because like I'm really getting sick. Like my body's like, fudge, no.
Yeah, I don't think the longest I stayed up recently was 2 in the morning, but it was like one of these.
Yeah.
Like, okay, Mila. Like, oh my god, I'm like, can we go to bed? I'm tired. Okay, let's go.
I like it.
She loves staying up with me.
Aww.
She just loves staying up, and then she still wakes up fairly early in the morning. But mind you, she's almost 11, so she's still young.
Yeah, I don't know how people do that. Even I'll just say people from like even other places like Asia, Africa, some Middle East people, they will stay up till like 3 in the morning and then wake up at 6, and I'm like, but you slept for like 3 hours, and then they like do it all again. But I've noticed that most of them do take like little naps throughout the day if they can.
Yes, and they probably meditate because meditation has also been proven to replace. So a 15-minute meditation has been proven to replace about 2 hours of sleep.
Okay.
So that's probably one of their secrets. They'll go into deep meditation, have a 50-minute nap, rest for 2 hours, and they're good to go. Like, all they need is 2 of those 50-minute naps throughout the day, and they have 4 hours of rest.
That is very true. And for me, I've like noticed, because I have a lot of Muslim friends, and I do feel like they go into that meditation trance when they are praying to Allah, you know, like, because they do it like 5 times a day, and I'm like, okay, but like they do it so dedicated, and you know, so it's just like I feel like that is their meditation, and that also might be why they don't need to like sleep as much, because they're like doing it throughout the day.
And I mean, to my understanding, meditation in a way, it also depends how you kind of meditate, but it really does come down to, in a way, be like a prayer.
Yeah, that is true.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
There's different forms of meditation, different ways to meditate. It's not all sitting cross-legged in the most awkward, uncomfortable position and just sitting still like this, and breathing in and out. That's just one form of meditation.
Thank you. I try to tell people this because I can't sit and close my eyes, because I'm a very, like, when I sleep, I can visualize so much stuff. So I'm like, actually, when I close my eyes to try to meditate, my brain just starts putting pictures in my head. So I'm like, I have to meditate with my eyes open. And people are like, you can't do that. And I'm like, yeah, you can. Like, I meditate when I'm, like, out in a busy place sometimes, just because, like, it's overwhelming and I just need to take a second and, like, center myself and not allow these things. And I'm like, once you practice, of course, you get different levels, and and it's more of just being aware of yourself, being aware of your thoughts, being aware of your breathing. I know half the time, like, I walk around and I'm not actually taking deep enough breaths. I'm just these short, shallow, and it's like, no, but it's kind of becoming aware of, like, okay, I need to actually breathe, and I just need to, like, be with myself for this moment in time.
Yeah, and then those shallow breaths, they actually send us into panic attacks. I remember, I lived with anxiety for quite some time. Like, I would wake up in the morning puking, because I was like so, it wasn't anxiety at that point, it was already like panic attacks. I would wake up every single day for a couple of years in panic attack with the elephant sitting in my chest, and I would throw up pretty much every single morning. And I started paying attention to my breathing, and I've noticed that, and it took me years to get myself to that point, but I've noticed that I was holding my breath.
Really?
A lot. Like, and I still catch myself holding my breath, because when I'm doing something, my husband is around or my kids are around, they're like, and I will take a deep breath in, they're like, what's wrong? I'm like, I forgot to breathe, and I'm taking a deep breath. Right? And right away people think something is wrong, because I go, what's wrong? No, something is wrong. Nothing is wrong. I'm just taking a deep breath. Relax.
Right? So, funny thing on that, like, not about breathing, but I find it funny, because, like, I'm a very happy, cheerful person, but obviously right now, it's almost my time of the month, so I get a little... Nice, we've already synced up. We're already meant to be, man. But it's funny because it's not like I get in a bad mood, but I just get in kind of like a, I don't know how to explain it, just kind of like an existing mood, you know? Like, neither happy nor sad. I'm just kind of like, because, like, I know my emotions start coming a lot when, like, I'm on my period, and so I just kind of, like, stay stagnant. I'm like, I'm not going to let them really affect me, but I just kind of need to just mellow out. And my family will just be like, what's wrong with you? Why are you not, like, the happy? And I'm like, well, I can't be that 24/7. Like, I do love being that person, and most of the time I am that person, but I do know when I need to kind of give myself a rest and not be always in this happy. And it's not like I'm super sad right now. Like, maybe I'm just talking, like,
normal or whatever, but nothing's wrong with me. Like, and I tell people, I tell my dad, I'm like, I'm about to be on my period just so you don't do something mean. He's like, you were just on it. I'm like, yeah, it happens every month. He's like, no, you were just on it. And I'm like, it happens every month. That's 12 times a year.
Yeah, without fail.
Yeah.
And I like to refer to it as my red BFF. Coming for a visit, and I'm just preparing for her visit.
Ooh, I like it.
Yeah, because it takes time. Like, our body, here's another thing I also learned. And I thought, I'm like, ooh, this is really interesting. First of all, can I record?
Of course. I've been actually recording our voices. Please record me. I will send you this as well, okay?
Awesome.
I have to learn how to do that.
One thing I learned, and I thought, I'm like, ooh, this is really interesting, that you know how we get our cycle once a month? So our bodies, our whole self renews every single month, once a month.
Okay.
Did you know that a man renews his body every single day?
Really?
Yeah, that they go to sleep, they wake up, and they are renewed. I don't obviously know all the terms that were used, but this is this is how I was explained as a grade 5er, so that way I can explain it to other people as if they were a grade 5er, so they can understand. And I thought, that makes so much sense. Why men are able to just
let everything go and just...
And they're good, right? And of course, there are exceptions, I would imagine, just like with women.
Yes.
I don't hold on to things. That I've been known for that. Oh God, ever since I can remember. I remember when we got married, my husband said, how come you never hold on to grudges? Like, you never have grudges, you never stay upset at a person for too long. And I did not know how to explain it to him.
It's like, it hurts me more than it hurts them. So why keep that within myself? Like, I'm angry at them. I want them to feel it, but I'm feeling it. Like, that sounds like counterintuitive right there.
Yes. And I mean, now I know how to explain that. It's like drinking poison. Why on earth would I want to keep drinking that poison when it's hurting me? It's like, I'm trying to drink that poison and hope the other person dies. It's just not gonna happen. So that's why I had a difficult time holding on to grudges, because there's never been really a reason or a point for them, and I don't do the whole I'm gonna get you back, I'll pay you back, all the revenge stuff. It's like it's childish. It really is. And when I hear my kids talk like that sometimes, it's like, why? Well, why?
Yeah, just teach them some skills. You got a whole tool belt in there.
And that's what I try to do, and that's what I do. But here's a little thing. If we are not interested in something, no matter how old we are, it's not gonna stay. So I can talk to them and I can explain to them 100 times, and if they're not interested in it, they're not gonna get it.
Yeah.
And that's like that for any kid, any human being, no matter how old.
Oh yes.
And the example I used with my husband was because he explained something to our son, right? And our son's like, yeah, okay, I got it. Okay, 2 minutes later, not even, he's back to the same thing what my husband just talked about. I'm like, you know what? I'm like, the way I'll explain it to you, I know it's funny, eh? The way I'll explain it to you is like this. Have you ever read a book or listened to something and you're like reading it 100 times and it's like, I don't get it. What the hell are they trying to say? It doesn't make any sense. Nothing goes in. That's because you're not interested in that. It doesn't make sense to you. So the same thing when we're having a conversation with someone, we're trying to teach something to someone. to it.
Yeah.
So instead of talking at them, talk to them and include them in a conversation.
Yeah.
And here's the other secret about kids. They know, because even though they're not fully listening, they know.
Oh yeah, kids are so smart. So smart. We don't give them enough credit at all.
Instead of telling them what they should be doing, ask them.
Yeah.
What could you do? What are your thoughts? What are your ideas? Please tell me. And get rid of the word should as much as possible. Because then, as they mature, because by the age of 7 or 8, they're already pretty much fully developed.
Got it.
Right. So after that, it's a little bit challenging.
Yeah.
But the word should, if it's used quite often up until that age, it becomes part of their message.
Yeah. Something I've learned too, obviously I don't have kids, so I've never like really practiced it, but I feel like it's something I would do if I was, is always give your kid choices, you know, and like ask them, so hey, if you pick this choice, what do you think's gonna happen? Okay, what if you pick this choice? What do you think's gonna happen? You know, it's involving them in the choices and helping them get that critical thinking down, because it's like, okay, you are smart, but let me help you with these skills to just kind of fine-tune them and just be like, okay, there are consequences for everything, whether they're good consequences or bad consequences. And I think in human form, we always think consequences are bad things, and they're not. Like, consequences can be good things because it can change a behavior, it can change your thought pattern, you know. So a consequence is just doing something different and knowing what that outcome is going to be on either side of that. And I think we don't.
Science experiment.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Like, what I'm hearing is it's a science experiment, and in science, I'm not sure what terminology they use, but the result, consequence, is a result. And that, like what you're explaining, that is a great approach. So I'm excited for you to have kids.
Right? I love kids. Being a teacher, because when I started becoming a teacher, I'm like, I'm not going to be a normal teacher. Like, because I know how hard it was for me for school. So, like, I want to find what helps them and how they study and how they work, and, like, not push them and allow them to make their own choices. And again, I mean, sometimes it is a little hard, especially when I was teaching adults. They don't want that. They don't want change. They want everything the way they've ever been taught. And it's like, okay, then. But with kids, they're so adaptable, and they're like, heck yeah, like, let's be creative, let's do this. And they're so much more open to this flow, and they get things better. It clicks better. And it's funny, so like what I'm learning right now actually was about that, the behaviors, because so in this, obviously with autistic kids, they don't know a lot of social skills or how to talk or, you know, all of this stuff. So it's watching their behaviors, and they call them consequences, but they make you think of consequences completely different from what you think, because it's like, oh yeah, if I think consequences, I'm thinking bad. They're like, no. Consequences are not bad. Consequences are good, because we're giving them something to, like, hey, if you do this, I'm going to give you your favorite toy. And that's the consequence. You get this because you did this, you know. So it is great. I'm really excited to start doing this. It's fun.
Oh, I can imagine. Like, you're probably like, talk about learning something new every single day. And those kids, I mean, kids period, because you mentioned when adults are being taught something, that they are essentially scared of change. They don't want to change because they have gotten themselves to a certain level of comfort, even if they're experiencing a lot of internal discomfort. Of unknown, of change is petrifying to some people. Because I've been there and I've done that. I was petrified of change, but change does not have to be overnight. It rarely is. Change can be extremely gradual, and that is the one that's going to be long lasting. But kids embrace change and love change, and by paying attention to kids and kind of like going back into my my childhood through meditation and following and seeing my own patterns, there is what I would call it is childlike curiosity. If we approach everything in life with childlike curiosity and get rid of the adult fear, I was going to say adult curiosity, but some adults have the curiosity, but it still has fear attached to it, because with the childlike curiosity there is no fear. There's just excitement, and they want to know.
Yes.
And I think the biggest thing is because when they go into learning something new with childlike curiosity, they have no idea of any potential consequences. But as adults, we have a lot of ideas of the potential consequences, and we sit there and we weigh that in a split second, because the subconscious mind is doing that for us, which means the decision's already
been made.
And therefore, less adults are open to change, and all children are excited about change because they have no idea what's going to happen. So the way I would explain it, I guess not explain, but the tip I would give is, when you meet whoever's watching, whoever's listening, when you go to learn something new, forget everything you have learned about it. Put that aside and go and learn it like you're learning it for the first time. And guaranteed, you're going to learn, pardon my language, but you're going to learn a shit ton of new stuff.
I love that you said that. I really did, because for me, like, I always say that to everyone. I'm like, I'm still a child. Like, I will never get rid of my inner child, right? Like, I love it. I remember, so this moment popped in my head when you were talking about this, but I remember I was in Germany and it was raining out, and I was walking back to like my little hostel, and there was this little girl in front of me, and she was enjoying the puddles. It was raining so hard, and she was just dancing, and I was like looking at her, and I'm like, you're right, kid. I should be doing this. I should be enjoying this moment. I should be jumping in these puddles and dancing. And I did. And she was also singing to herself. And I'm like, you're right. I'm going to do this. So all the way back, I did exactly what she was doing. And I had so much fun. And I was like, and I think it's hard because, again, I don't have kids, but something I've just observed is it's like when people become parents, they forget that childness inside of them, because they think like, oh, I must be this parent role, I must protect, I must, make these choices for my kid and all this stuff. And it's like, no, you're there as a guide. You're not there to force all these opinions and choices on your kid. You're just there to help them through life. Like, you're older, you know how to do things, you can provide these things, but don't ever put what you want into that kid. Let them be free to be who they want. And I think we become so disconnected with, hey, I used to be a kid too, and it's like, who did I want when I was a kid? Be that person. And for me, I'm always that person. Like, every day I'm like, who did my younger self need? I'm going to become that woman. Who is that person that I needed at that exact moment? Okay, this. So I just keep adapting my roles. And it's so funny that you talk about change too, because every single day the world changes. Every day the weather changes, the moon changes, like,
So do we.
right, we change.
And it regenerates every single day. We build new skin cells.
Right.
Our stomach lining changes like every 5 days.
Yep. Yeah, I forget what it is. I thought the skin was like every 7 days. No? Was it every day?
Well, I haven't fully looked into it, but I know there's different parts of our body, but essentially our whole entire body does renew itself every month.
Is it every month? I thought it was like every single year or something.
Certain parts could be a year.
God, I thought like everything all together, like it takes. But see, even that.
Certain things. Like, I think the stomach lining, for example, I think it's every 5 days.
Got it. Okay.
This would be an interesting research to do.
Yeah.
And if anybody watching and listening can do the research for
Yeah,
us,
please.
send it to us. I'm not gonna lie, save us the time. But yeah, and it's interesting, like how you were talking about, like that we are here to protect and teach the child. basically how to live, how to survive, how to be, right? There's a lot I can say about that, but there's one concept I have learned in IPEC college training. College training. Everyone is our teacher and a student. And when I heard that, I thought, holy bejeebus. Our kids, how do I try to sum it up really quickly? I believe that everyone is born for a reason.
Yes.
And the children we have, the people that we have in our life are there for a reason. Our life, our path is already predetermined and preset because we have chosen it ourselves before we were born. I know some people, because I've said this many times, and I've even said it to my partner, and the response with some people is, oh my God, why would you say that? Because some people, why would they choose to be sick or have something, you know what I mean? And I get that.
But it's what they needed to learn, unfortunately.
It's all about human experiences. When we are a soul floating wherever we believe we're floating, the emotions are not the same as if we are in a body. So when you're floating up there, you choose to experience that feeling and that emotion because you have not experienced it yet. And as a soul, you want to experience every single one. And therefore, after you've experienced everything, I'm not quite sure where that happens afterwards, but you become, I guess, the ultimate being, so to speak. But saying that, our children have chosen us as well because they're here to teach us lessons.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest lesson is to remind us of why we're even here in the first place. To remind us that how to be a child, how to experience life and experience joy and happiness the way that we were meant to before all our parents' fears were flooded into us and put into us again by the age of 7 or 8 years old. And then we slowly started forgetting who we were born to be. And we essentially become our parents. And it's tough not to put fears into our kids. It really, really is. I see a lot of parents, I will phrase it. I see a lot of children who have severe anxiety. And when I hear them talk, fear of cars slowing down, being kidnapped, a white van is standing far away, they're gonna get me. Don't open the doors because somebody horrible is on the other side. And I mean, these are realities of some people, but is that a life that
you want to live?
Any parent wants for their child? And it's scary to hear and see and witness young children showing a lot of signs of anxiety.
Yeah. Because it is. We project all of that stuff off, even on our animals. I've been noticing, like, when I go to people's houses, they have dogs, I'm like, oh my God, like, your dog's exactly like you. It has anxiety. Oh my God, it has depression. Like, it has social anxiety. You know, and I'm just like, this is but this is manifestation. You manifest what you want in the world. And it is funny when I come back here, obviously I'm still the child to everyone here. So they project all their fear onto me. Like, you know, obviously I've traveled the world by myself. I mean, come on. And for me, my whole family's so scared for me because I don't take anything with me. Like, I don't carry anything. I don't carry pepper spray. I don't carry a taser, like nothing. Because for me, it was just like, well, I would never want to use that. And I don't feel like I would ever put myself into the position that would warrant me to ever have to use it. Like, yes, I am going and staying with random strangers, but there's always like this checking that I go through before I go there. I don't drink, I don't party, like I'm not in alleyways at midnight. So for me, like coming back here, let's say if I go on a date or whatever, it's just like, oh my God, like you're gonna send me the address, you're gonna go, and I'm like, I am 28 years old. I think I know how to handle myself. And, so it's just like, it is crazy. And, just seeing the kind of fear the state of fear that they are constantly in, and thinking that this world is such a big, bad place. And I'm just like, but it really isn't. Like, it is such a loving place. But when you feed into that, you watch the news constantly, you watch your phone constantly, it's all negativity. Yeah, maybe when you're scrolling, you see like, let's say 50 things that are happy, but if you see 2 things that are negative, guess what? Those 2 negative things, negativity is so much more powerful, unfortunately, than positivity, and we stick more to it. So when you have that, that's gonna now replace your mind, and then you're projecting it to everyone. And for me, I have been putting up my big shield around me, because it's like, I don't want that. I don't want to become that person, because I've never feared. It's not that I've never feared, but I've gone over the fear, and I say, hey, I'm going to face my fear instead. I'm going to face it head on and be like, hey, what you doing? Let's do this today. Oh, I'm afraid of you? Not today. Not today. I'm not. I'm like, let's do this, man. And for me, it was just like, even that way I don't carry. It's like, because then if I have something, then I'm warranting something to come and for me to use it, So like, why even have that around me, and now I have this like thought in my head, like, oh my God, I might have to use this one day, and guess what, like then I'm gonna project something to where I'm gonna have to use that one day. And I think that's
basically what you're saying is manifesting. That's what it sounds like. You're saying that you will create that into reality. Your fear is that you might manifest it into your life, and that way you will have to use whatever it is that you have in your pocket. But you've been traveling for, how many years have you been traveling now by yourself?
3.5 years.
And nothing happened.
And again, I wouldn't say like nothing too big has happened. Of course things happen. I've had people kind of follow me, but like I've always had other bystanders that always have my back, that have always like looked out for me, and like I've always felt safe. So it's just like, okay, creeper behind me, but person in front of me is like, yo, I'm looking out for you. And it's like, oh, thank you, So like it's always been kind of in those situations. We'll talk one day about my crazy stories, but nothing to... Right? But I guess nothing to... maybe an instance where I should have had something, but, it could happen to me here. And that's what I always say to, like, my family. I'm like, hey, if something bad's gonna happen, it can happen right here where I'm from. Like, we have a really dangerous city here in Tacoma, so I'm not too worried about going out into the world. Like, there are always good people and there are always bad people, but I'm not going to let the fear of these very few bad people stop me from living my life and doing stuff that I absolutely love doing, which is exploring, which is learning new cultures and having friends from all over the world and just seeing what this earth is about. Like, I think if you don't travel, you are missing out. Like, you don't even know what this world is about. Like, you have a glimpse of what the world is, and it's just like, there's so much out there that you have to experience and see and live, man.
And I've talked about you to a couple of people now, and the way I describe you, the way I see your personality is well-traveled. Because people that are well-traveled, there's just something about them that it's like they radiate. They live and they experience life, and they can tell you what joy is. And it's not sitting down and hiding in your house, making sure that all the locks are locked, however many locks one has in their house, or being scared to go outside because, something might happen, or walk down the street. I mean, my husband does get nervous when I go walk the dog at night, and he has a valid reason. We have coyotes in the area.
Yeah.
Right? And we happened to see one evening. We were just walking down, and it's like it's a paved path, right, where we live. It's really nice, but it's forested. And he's not really necessarily paying attention, just talking to me, kind of like, he's 6'5" and I'm 5'1", so he's like looking up everywhere. And for me, I see lower things on the ground, and I look ahead, and I stop, I'm like, is that a coyote? He's like, oh, that's a coyote. I'm kind of like walking towards it. He goes, no, Yana, we cannot walk that way. I'm like, see, but it's running away, it's going somewhere else. He's like, but coyotes, they hunt in packs. So from that day on, I have to carry my pepper spray for coyotes that he got from me. And again, that is a valid fear. But I don't want to go walk the dog anticipating seeing a coyote again. Right?
Yeah.
Because that is not living.
Yeah.
This is in my neighborhood.
Yeah. And that's hard because we've imposed our lifestyle on these animals. And it's like, where do we expect these animals to go? Like, if we killed most of them because we put up our lives and then we get scared of them, like, we should be able to coexist with them. Yes, I guess they might kill our animal, especially if they're smaller, but, like, unfortunately, like, that's nature. That is nature. And, like, so it's just like, I have a whole different view on animals, obviously, so we won't get into that.
I have probably a different view on animals as well. But one thing I also wanted to mention is that coyotes have been known to grab dogs while they're on leash.
Wow. Like, smaller dogs or, like, all different types of dogs?
I would say anywhere between a medium dog to a small dog.
Okay. Right. So I'm like, I feel like a bigger dog, like, they would think that's a challenge, man. They'd be like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, right? And at the same time, I know that this is their world, this is their territory. And we build houses around their habitats, and they're forced. I mean, a coyote wasn't around a long time ago. Coyote is just a hybrid of dog and wolf that has learned to live among humans.
Interesting. Okay.
And they have learned to live, basically just walk around the streets.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're almost like squirrels that we have here.
Or like raccoons or something.
And there's rat squirrels, as I call them, because they're bigger, they're bulkier, they live around houses, they go through garbage and they eat.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we create some of these animals, or we force them so close that they are forced to coexist and create a new version of themselves, so that way they can live among us. And this happens all around the world. And I've seen some horrendous videos where jaguars go into people's houses. They were there first.
Yep.
And then people go and hunt these jaguars.
And then we wonder why almost all animals are extinct.
Yeah. And then back to the beginning of our conversation. Revenge is not the way to live. It creates a lot of catabolic energy. And catabolic energy is draining.
Yeah.
It's what eats at us. It's actually what shortens our life. There's been studies done saying that stress, which is catabolic energy, shortens our life by about 15 years.
Wow. No problem. My stress is gone. So washed away. Bye-bye.
I know I would like to live those extra 15 years as opposed to lose those 15 years.
Agreed. I think definitely if I hadn't found myself or gone on this journey of self-discovery, I definitely could still be, I would be exactly like my family. But I just, I think it was once I detached myself from my family, and I say this to everyone, like, as much as you can love your family, get away from them, because they do influence you a lot, and you're not allowed to be your individual person, and learn who you are and what you want. So I think going off to college was like the best decision for me ever, because it got me away and it made me realize, wait, is this me? Is this the person I want to be? Am I sure? Because I don't think so. I don't like this person. I don't like this Megan. Like, let's become a whole different Megan. And that's okay. It's always okay to become a different person, because every, like, version of you is needed at a different point in your life, you know? Like, obviously 18-year-old me is not going to be a business owner. Like, I'm going to need to acquire different skills and become a different person for that. Especially when I become a mom, I'm going to have to change roles and be a different person for that, you know? But, and why I guess I've waited much longer to do all of these things is so that I am ready, I am prepared, I have knowledge, and I know things better. And I can adapt to change and embrace change and say change is okay. And I'm going to keep working on myself. And I think if you don't constantly change throughout your life up until the day you die, what are you doing on this earth? You need to ask yourself, what am I doing here? Because that's what life is. Life is about changing, especially like we said, like if our bodies are constantly changing, why can't our minds constantly change? Let it happen. Let it flow. Yeah. And something I've been like, you know, trying to tell my family, I'm like, it's a daily thing. Like I wake up every single day and have to re-go through everything I've learned, you know, because it's not like one day it's just like, oh, like I'm completely better. It's like, no, I still wake up. I still have sadness. I still have anger. Like I still have all these emotions, but I sit with myself more and I'm like, hey, what is this emotion teaching me right now? What can I learn from this emotion? What do I need to do differently? Do I need to set up boundaries? Do I need to talk to someone about this? What do I need to do? And figure that out, but change. Like, don't allow it to consume me and to stay in my body and start messing around with it. Because I think people don't realize that, like, when you hold on to emotions, you're hurting your body. You're hurting yourself. Like, you gotta let it go. You gotta let it go. Because you're going to be in chronic pain forever.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought it up, because that's what I have been helping people do. I first needed to do that for myself. Learn that emotion is neither good or bad. Emotion is really just a flag to tell us that something feels off. And what you described is that you take the time to understand what that emotion is actually telling you, what might be going on internally or externally, and then decide how you want to go about it. And I do this with people with one-on-one coaching, right? And I am starting group coaching in January to help a group of people to do the same thing. And I also, the Heal the Unicorn Wednesday calls that I shared with you, that's the free call that I offer to people that want to be part of it. And of course, I want to keep a cap on it, not to have too many people, because I want everyone to be able to explore those emotions, explore those thoughts that are causing those emotions, because those two are connected. For some people, it starts with a thought followed by emotion. For others, it's an emotion followed by a thought, and they are connected. And if we don't do anything about it, it will grow, it will multiply, and it can potentially cause one to, the word recluse comes to mind, to become a recluse and stay away from anything or anyone that could potentially trigger them. And that's their way of protecting themselves. I did that.
Yeah, sometimes you have to, and you know, it is something I've had to do with in my life, is cut people off that I never thought I would ever cut off in my life, you know, like my mom, for goodness, you know. But it's like, sometimes you have to, but don't think that it's forever. Like, sometimes people can change and see their ways, and they'll come back into your life, but you have to be strong enough to be like, am I going to allow the toxic traits that this person has right now, or can I leave that and go do my own thing, you know? And sometimes that is okay, whether it's your son, your daughter, your parents, your uncle, aunt, whatever it is, your best friend. Let them go, because you are on this journey to get better, and sometimes you have to let go of these toxic people, no matter what they're doing. If they make you feel some type of way, and the first thing is make boundaries. And I think that's the hardest thing for people these days, is to set boundaries with people, and how to like talk to people about boundaries. Because it's not like I need to be rude and be like, don't do this. It's like, hey, I don't know if you're aware, but you made me feel this type of way when you do this or you say this, and I don't appreciate it. Can we, like, you know, work on maybe not making fun of me in front of people, you know, or whatever it is, and talking like that, because that too, when you accuse someone or, you know, like attack someone, they ain't listening. Like, it's nope. So, like, you have to come differently. You have to talk like an adult and say, like, what it is, you know? And it's something even right now in my own life, like, I know I need to go have a talk with someone, but for me, it's like, I just need to calm myself down, because I want to have a good talk. I want to have a great conversation that's productive. And if I go in there with my emotions already on high, I'm not going to be really reacting rationally. So sometimes, like, it is okay to sit for a week, to sit for however long you need to process all of those things and find a good way that's like, hey, how am I going to approach this? How will this person react the best way as well, and not feel like I'm attacking them or anything like that. And I think, you know, there's just skills we always just have to keep learning, because that too, everyone speaks a different language. Everyone, you know, for me, with my family, it's like our tone. And I'm like, yeah, that is like, most people aren't aware of their tone of voice. And, you know, when maybe we're like getting a little angry, it's like, my tone like starts going up. And like, it's good, because I've told my family, I'm like, please check me, because sometimes I am not aware of myself. Like, I try, but I'm human. I ain't perfect. Like, sometimes I also am not aware of what I'm doing. So my family's been really good. Like, if we're having a discussion and sometimes I get a little, they're like, Megan, your tone. And I'm like, thank you. So then I can take a deep breath, and I can be like, okay, like, I'm coming from a loving place. I don't want you to feel like I'm attacking you. I'm sorry for raising my voice. And then I'll just come back down, and it helps, because then that person starts listening. You know, because when you have a different tone, they ain't listening. They've checked out. They're like, nah, you yelling at me, I ain't listening to you. So it's just coming. It's coming with a different approach.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful way to explain of how to deal with an uncomfortable situation. Because most people, what you've also just expressed, is that they take it personally, and they're not listening to you anymore, because they are already setting up a counter attack. Because what you have said is very personal. And one of the things I've noticed that you, the way that you approach situation is you say, I feel, without expressing blame. You did this, so because you did this, it caused me this. This is your fault. And it sounds like what you do is you take personal responsibility for what you feel and express, and then translate it into that person's language to help them understand what happened and why it could have happened, and not making it personal. And if that voice moves in any direction, instead of you taking that personally, as you would, you listen.
Yeah.
And you tone yourself down to then bring yourself down to the level that is, because again, what you're saying is, I can't hear you because you've changed the way you're talking. So in order for me to hear you, you need to bring yourself back down to
that is, because sometimes I've had to tell people, like, and I've had to walk away because they start yelling, and I'm like, hey, right now you're not in a great headspace to have a normal adult conversation that's productive, and I'm gonna walk away and let you cool down and let you calm down, and we can come back together when you're in a different headspace, because this is not going to be productive at all. And I would rather only have productive conversations instead of, like, for what? I don't want to fight with you. I don't want to argue with you. Like, for me, I never go into things thinking like, oh, this is, you know, an argument, because with that, like, someone has to be wrong, someone has to be right. I always go in thinking this is a discussion. Like, this is me having my opinion, you having yours, and us coming to kind of like an agreement about, you know, something. So it's just like having this different mindset on everything that we do. And I get it is hard for other people to even be self-aware of ourselves, to be aware of our thoughts and our tone and how we react to certain things, and even our body, how so out of tuned we are with our own body. Like, for me, I really am in touch with my, like, I know if I put something in my mouth, I know if my body hates it or it does not like it, okay? I know in a second. But even that, like, I always know, I know when I'm freaking hungry. I know where a lot of my emotions stem from. Sometimes it may take me a few days to really grasp them and be like, okay, where did that come from? But I love being in tune with myself. I love, like, listening to my body, knowing when, oh, okay, I might be getting sick here, you know, or hey, but I know what my body needs. And it's like, all right, I'm gonna eat more vegetables today because I'm not feeling so great. And these are the days where I don't want to eat my vegetables, but I'm like, nah, you need them more. So.
Like, you're reading my mind. This morning, I made my kids chocolate waffles, but my son loves more chocolate. He said, Mommy, can you put lots of butter? And then I put chocolate in each little waffle hole.
Ooh.
And I put another waffle on top, and of course, more butter, more chocolate, 3 layers he had. Like 3 waffles with that.
Can I come to your house?
And he had more than half, and I'm like, it's standing there, it's nice and warm, and it's like gooey and melty. I'm like, I'm gonna have that for breakfast. I ate it, and oh my god, I felt like crap.
Mm-hmm.
And that also was a great reminder that I don't want that stuff in my house for my kids to eat, because if it makes me feel like that, I can only imagine what it's doing to the little body. And I didn't even have half. I had like quarter of it. And that kind of stuff makes me feel like I'm a horrible mother.
I get that, but it's not true. We're just taught these things, and we have to unlearn them, right?
Yes, but it makes me feel like that, and I embrace it, and I understand it without punishing myself for it. That, okay, great, I'm allowed to have a crappy breakfast once in a while, and it's okay when I have a lazy days like a Monday where I don't want to cook anything because I've been cooking a whole entire weekend and the week before. I want to have Monday break from making good food. So let them have a little bit of junk, and then at the same time it's like, well, maybe there's healthier junk.
That is true. There is healthier junk, and I will agree with that. Because even for me, like, I know I have a great diet, but, like, especially when I come back here to America, it is really hard for me to maintain. Like, I gain weight when I'm back here. Let's not get it twisted, okay? But it's hard to... It is. And just the influence. And I think it's hard for me, too, because, like, I'm a big fruit person. Like, I could eat fruit every morning, all day. Like, I love fruit. The fruit here in America is disgusting. Disgusting. I will not eat it. It is so gross to me. Like, oh, it just tastes fake. It doesn't taste like, and especially me coming from Asia, where, like, everything is, you know, homegrown and, you know, this size and, like, so small. And then I come here and it's like, oh my god, this stuff looks plastic. Like, it looks so fake. It looks fake and it tastes fake, and I'm like, I can't do it. So it's hard for me because, like, I do love it, but I can't eat it here. So then I do kind of have to eat some not so great stuff, and then I get into kind of this bad routine of eating unhealthy food, even though, you know, most of it's vegan food. It's like, okay, but it's processed food and it's not the greatest for me. So it is hard, and I am trying to find that line. Like, even now, like, big oranges, I don't like them. So I've been buying, like, the little tangerine oranges. I'm like, okay, I like those a little better. Like, I can eat them more quickly, and they taste a little bit better than the big oranges. So I've been trying different fruits and seeing, like, okay, this one kind of tastes a little better than, So I'll buy, like, one fruit at a time and just be like, all right, let's see how I like it. Because it is hard, because, like, I want to eat fruit so bad. But it's so gross.
It's very true. I was 13 when we came to Canada.
Mm-hmm.
And even though it's been a long time now, I still remember how fruit and how dairy tasted back in Russia. Like, the dairy that we have here, that's water. My husband, he was born here, so he doesn't know the difference. He's never tasted the sour cream here. Oh my gosh, watered down sour cream. That's not real sour cream. And I remember eating, like, strawberries and peaches that my parents had grown on the piece of land that they had. And you would bite into that peach and it would just splash everywhere. The juice would run down. I'm already, like, salivating.
I know, me too.
The word pollen comes to mind. It tastes pollinated.
Yeah.
It
just tastes fresh and sweet and.
So odd. And then eating peaches here, I'm like, oh my god, this is like a freaking cardboard. And that's why I only eat them seasonally.
Yeah.
And I mean, nectarines, peaches are not supposed to be hairless. It's like a hairless cat. It's a designer peach.
Yeah.
It's a designer cat. And I only buy these peaches seasonally at farmers market, grown locally, and those are the ones that taste so good. And I am able to buy those in the grocery store as well from farmers markets.
Yeah.
But again, also seasonally, because we're not supposed to be eating all these things year round. That's what we live.
True.
And our bodies are designed to be eating these foods seasonally, not year round. And
unless you live in the tropics.
Yes, but then you also are used to that. You're not going to be eating food if you live, like, I watched David Attenborough do a documentary show.
Okay.
I can't remember exactly what it's called, but it's basically him talking about him saving the earth, saving the planet, because he's been traveling the world and he's been exploring, and he goes and he explains how much wilderness is left, how much wildlife is left in comparison to now. And I kid you not, I was crying pretty much the whole entire documentary. Me and my son were sitting down and crying because all we see is, like, death. The planet, the animals, everything is like death, death, death. But wait, we can do something about it. It's not too late. And I'm glad that he put that together, and it was, like, even thinking about it, like, it hurts my heart. And my husband and my daughter were, like, watching me, like, are you crying? Are you crying for? And I can't even explain it because I'm feeling what I'm watching. And talking about, like, what we're eating, a lot of this food that we're eating, it's been designed by humans, and it has been patented so it can be owned. And then farmers are not even allowed to grow their own because they have to buy seeds that I don't want to go there, but I'm going there, by government, because so that way they can own it. And it does make me fear for our human future. That there will be time when we as humans will be designed so we would have an owner. Dogs have been bred to become dogs, so the way they are kind of owned. A lot of livestock is that way as well.
But you're actually, I mean, fair enough. Because I feel like it's already that way, because look at even now with this pandemic, we're always looking, to the government for assistance, for seeing what's going to happen, for our food, for everything, so it is crazy to see even that. It's like guys, why don't we plant our own food? You know, that's something I really want to do. Like, I want to learn how, right? Let's grow. Let's do it. I mean, I'm going to be going somewhere warmer, okay, where I can have all my fruits all season, man. I need it. But it's crazy that we don't see how dependent we are on the system, and even see that it's a problem. And it's like, but do you really think that this is what life was supposed to be like? Like, were you really supposed to work a 9-to-5 job for the man all the time? Were you supposed to, you know, just take whatever food they give you? It's crazy. And us, like, we don't even think twice about it. Like, so a weird thing. So bread. Let's take bread for instance. It's like, most people don't even know what gluten is. And it's like, oh, it's gluten-free. I'm like, but do you even know what gluten is? Do you know? Because so my mom, she bought like something gluten-free, and it was like oats or something. And she was like, but it still says oats on it. And I'm like, yeah, because gluten is a man-made chemical that helps things to stick together. Now, let's just like think about this logically. Something that is man-made, like glue, it is glue, and now you're putting that into your body. Glue sticks to things. Where do you think that is going in your body? Like, do you just think glue just is gonna kind of go through you? Probably not. Like, it's probably sticking, you know. And for me, like, it was something I had to realize, and it was something that kept getting brought up to me over and over again, was people were just like, you know, maybe one reason you really aren't losing weight is because of gluten. And I was like, I've never thought about that. And so recently I started doing, like, I've done this before it was like popular, but like I do an elimination diet. So like I will eliminate something from my diet for a period of time, and then I'll reintroduce it back into my life and just be like, all right, I'm going to observe what happens when I eat this thing and what happens. And it is now when like I start eating, if I have anything that has like gluten in it, my tummy starts really, really hurting. And I'm just like, yeah, actually, I should not be eating gluten. So I try to get everything gluten-free constantly, but it is that. And just, I mean, even all my processed food, it's like half the time I'm looking at the ingredients, I'm just like, I don't even know what half of this shit is. What is this? What are they putting into our bodies? Like, what is that doing to my chemical makeup? And I think that's what we forget. I'm not a scientist, but come on, like, our bodies, like, are so vast and amazing, and it's like, you don't think that the things we're putting in our body has any effect on it. Like, it has everything to do with it, you know? And half these people that don't even drink water, I'm like, you know, you are water. You're water. Why are you not drinking water? Like, what? I drink pop. What? What?
That's not water.
Yeah, that's not water. If anything, that's dehydrating you know, just the same as coffee. It's like coffee it dehydrates you. Alcohol dehydrates you. Like, it gets, right? I know, I need to go get my bottle of water. I love my tea every morning. Tea?
That's my coffee.
That's your coffee. Good job.
So, like, I know coffee dehydrates, but it's just so good. This is a mug that I made.
Oh my, that is beautiful. Oh, Empath unicorn, I love
I
it.
put quotes on it, and now it's like peeling off because I use it way too much, like, every day. So, yeah.
I love it.
But, I mean, I put too much paint in it, that's the problem.
That's okay. It's
but
beautiful.
Anyways, it's been awesome talking to you today.
I know. I'm glad we had a full session. I know. I apologize for last time. I apologize.
That's okay. That's okay. It's 15 minutes was still 15 minutes more than we wouldn't have had.
Right.
Yeah. Most people would have canceled last minute, but I just want to say thank you that you didn't, and we still had 15 incredible minutes.
Right. I know.
I love that. Anyways, thank you.
You're welcome.
And you can use the same link for scheduling the next day. Oh, and you said you're gonna come on Wednesday for our Heal the Unicorn?
Yes.
Well, thank you all for joining us on this magical, transformative Tuesday. I do apologize for the quality of the sound. It was over video chat, but this is a teachable moment for Megan and learning how to do a sound check before we get into recording. I hope all of you beautiful goddesses, queens, and unicorns loved this talk, because I definitely did. And I hope you took away some teachable moments. Until next time, I hope you all have a magical, magical, magical everything. Morning, day, night, whatever you are doing, whatever you are setting your intentions for. I hope all of your magical dreams come true. And I can't wait to see you next Tuesday. Goodbye all. Namaste.